Okay, so we have Crystal here with us. Crystal is my previous peer support specialist. She's a mother of one and a fur baby mama of two, and she's currently pursuing a bachelor degree in social work. That's who we're talking to today. So let's start off with where you're from, your age, and a little bit about yourself and your childhood.
So my name's Crystal Branscombe. I am 41 years old from Monticello, Kentucky, very small town, also known as Wayne County, Lake Cumberland area. A little bit about me. I am in recovery. I have 5 years sober. I have 2 dogs. Going to school right now, pursuing a bachelor's degree in social work. I grew up in a very small town, and I had a single mom who raised me. Grew up with a single mom that she was awesome and took really good care of me and my siblings. I have 2 brothers and 1 sister. And early on, I have an older brother who was addicted to drugs since a very young age. I can remember him going through struggles. I had a really awesome grandma who I love very much, and she was a big part of my life. But basic divorced family, low income, lived in government housing, a struggling mom who worked cleaning houses and doing the best she could to take care of her kids.
So you said you're 5 years sober?
Yeah, I have 5 years sober.
At what point did substances become a part of your life?
From a very young age. I smoked my first joint when I was 12 and started drinking alcohol and stuff, and I was pretty wild from the age of 12 to 15. So it started young.
There's a lot of talk in sobriety about hitting rock bottom. What did that look like for you, and how did you get out of that?
I think rock bottom can be a lot of different things for different people. But I had to get to a place of complete desperation. I had been really hopeless for a very long time. And I think for me, that's what it took, of being just utterly hopeless. And that's the point I got at. I was doing things that I swore I would never do. It talks about total incomprehensible demoralization in the big book. And that's what it was for me. I was doing things against my moral compass, and I was shooting up drugs every day. I was stealing from my mom. I wasn't being a good mom to my son. Doing a lot of things that just were really bad. The drugs just trumped everything, and they were in total control of me.
So what were some things early on in sobriety that encouraged you to keep going?
Early on in sobriety, I think the main thing that kept me going was seeing other people giving me hope, that I knew they had been where I had been, but they were living sober lives. And that gave me the inspiration to, even when I really didn't believe it could happen for me, it gave me some kind of hope that I didn't have. And also just never wanting to feel like I had been feeling. Like I wanted something different for my life. I couldn't keep going. Like I just wanted to die, and wanting to be a better person for my son and my family and my mom, and just thinking about all the bad things I had done was a good inspiration to keep going.
That's really beautiful. There are things people do in sobriety and just day to day, such as working programs, reading literature, morning routines, night routines, maybe exercising. what are some things in your day-to-day life that keep you sober?
Prayer's a big part of my life. Definitely part of my journey has been, well, the biggest part of my journey has been connecting with a power greater than myself. I think that power's been there all along. I just clouded that. I was blocked from it. That's a huge part, prayer. I definitely, you know, talk to my sponsees. I sponsor women. I go to meetings, not every day, but I do go to meetings. But I would say prayer and meditation and inventories are my nightly inventories are a big part of my daily recovery.
That's awesome. So early on in sobriety, I don't know if you experienced this, but I kind of had this false hope that things were just going to magically get better. And with the absence of the substance, that life was just going to be great. And then eventually the ugly truth hit me that there's just like real life shit to deal with. And we also have, a lot of us have co-occurring disorders. How has it been handling your mental health in sobriety? And are there different tools you use when you're struggling with addiction, and versus maybe things like depression or anxiety?
That's a very good question. Mental health, for me, is so important. I mean, it's crucial. If my mental health is bad, I mean, that's why I use drugs was to cope with my mental health. Because before, you know, I was always depressed and had problems. So when I used substances, it was an escape. You know, it made me feel better. So I was self-medicating. So I found that, you know, these co-occurring disorders, it's mental health and substance use, you know, like if I don't take care of my mental health and cultivate healthy mental health on the daily, then I will go back to substance use, no doubt. You know, so it's important for me. Things I do is, you know, I do have to take medication, so I stay, you know, in close contact with my psychiatrist, you know, and stay on top of that. But also just things, I think they kind of go hand in hand, things like prayer, staying connected, going to meetings, doing things like that helps my mental health. Being a better person has being able to lay your head down at night knowing you lived right or did the right things. I think that's helped my mental health greatly. And working against myself, like doing things that I don't want to do. You know, I think that's a big part of it because, you know, whenever you're depressed, you want to lay in the bed. So making yourself get up and do something. And that's hard to do. Having a job and going to work and being held accountable, you know, having sponsees and that tremendously helps my mental health to serve other people and help others.
Okay, so at what point in your journey did you know you wanted to turn some pain into purpose and kind of help other addicts?
Well, from the beginning, being the biggest inspiration that I had come from other people. You know, I didn't do this on my own. Recovery isn't something, I didn't get here by myself. I've had so much support and love from people along the way. And the program, the whole premise of the program is giving away what you've so freely been given. So since I've had a sponsor, you know, throughout the book and everything, it talks about 12-stepping and working with other people and giving it away. And I think it's just become like this a passion you have whenever you escape addiction, and you have a solution, you want to help other people. So I feel like because of all my struggles and struggling for my entire life like I have, that it was my, at some point, it's just like, that's what I need to do. I need to help people who struggle with their mental health, depression, suicidal thoughts, attempts, you know, addiction, you know, the pain. I need to work with those people. because those people need somebody who understands, who's walked those roads as well. And it just, over time, it's just something that was taught to me, to do, and it's just the right thing to do.
So your current position is peer support specialist. Are there any struggles working with people going through active addiction, and do you have any advice for people entering that field?
Yeah, sure, there's struggles. I think that when you're working with people who are intoxicated and in the, pits of that, maybe pre-contemplation, they're not even in the stages of change where they're ready to do anything. Like, it can be very challenging. I've learned that, for me anyway, more than anything, it teaches me what I don't want to go back to. So I think it's made me stronger in a lot of ways. But, just meet people where they're at, and remember where you come from, and that they, not having expectations on people and just being there to help them as you can. I mean, we can't control what people do, but we can just show up for them.
You mentioned earlier about taking medications as struggling with mental health. There are some people in the sobriety community who frown upon that. Mm-hmm. What would you say for people who are struggling, that they may possibly need medication? And what advice would you give them moving forward in sobriety as someone who possibly needs that?
I say, that they need to, if you're struggling, what that feels like, and sometimes, coming out of, addiction, and sometimes for people, it's just getting, regulated again and stuff. So I would say, don't listen to what other people say. If you're struggling, get help, because mental health is serious, and some people just have chemical imbalances and they need treatment, and it's okay, and if that's the case, find somebody who understands, and forget the people who don't. And there are sponsors out there who will sponsor people on mental health medication and understand the difference. So,
is there any quote or saying in sobriety that has stuck with you, that's just kind of made a big impact on you, that you remind yourself of ever?
Most definitely. In the Big Book, it talks about our dark past is our greatest asset, and that's something that sticks with me really deeply, because that's what keeps me from going back. Like, I keep my dark past really close. The worst things I've done, the people I've hurt the most, that I love the most, all those things that are unimaginable that I did, I keep those things really close, because I don't ever want to go back to that and feel that way again, and I know that's what will happen. But it also goes on to say, our dark past is our great asset. With that, we can divert death and misery for others. So by the experience I've been through, I can help somebody else maybe not go as hard as I went, or do the things that I've done, or, I can be that hand for somebody else to help guide them through. So maybe things don't get as bad for them.
That's amazing. I know you're definitely that person to me and many other people. So we really appreciate you. Is there anything that you have looking forward to, or anything you want to achieve in the next few years that you want to talk about?
Yeah, I'm supposed to graduate with my bachelor's this fall, and I want to continue on to get my master's. And I want to go on from there to get my LCSW, which is a licensed certified social worker. So do therapy. It's wide open. I could do a lot of different things with the degree and help a lot of people, but I want to continue to, of course, sponsor women and do things that are not paid for, because it's about giving back freely, so it's just kind of two different things for me. I know there's a lot of controversy about people getting paid jobs, But it is important to me to give back, you know, and I still try to do that through sponsorships. So, yeah, I just want to live a simple life and have peace and serenity and find some contentment and happiness. And, you know, I do have a lot of that today, but I look forward to maybe getting to travel and do some live life, just live.
Yeah.
So,
Well, thank you.
thank you.